This morning, Denver and a few other cities and counties are taking legal action against President Trump, accusing his administration of breaking promises when it comes to funding for migrants. Our 9 News legal expert Whitney Traylor joins us now to talk about this lawsuit. Whitney, good morning.
Hi. Good morning. Good to see you.
Good to see you too. So let's go back a little bit. This all stems from funding that was promised from the previous administration, right?
Yeah. This was money that was promised in 2023 and 2024, or maybe 2022, related to all the migrants that were coming into Denver from Venezuela. And I think it was about 43,000 that came from Texas. And Governor Abbott was shipping folks out to different cities. And so the federal government, under the shelters program, said, yes, we're going to give you money specifically for this. And so Denver was allocated, I think, around $31 million. And so they've gotten 7 or 8 million of that. And now FEMA is withholding it per the Trump administration. And so these various cities, Chicago, Denver, and a city in Arizona, are now suing, saying, hey, we're entitled to that money. It was allocated by Congress, so it implicates the Impoundment Act, which says, hey, if the money's allocated, the president can't withhold it. The executive branch can't withhold it. So they've just initiated that lawsuit. So
$31 million is what Denver was kind of banking on, the reason why they were able to house the migrants and take them in. And now they've only received, I believe, like 8 million of it.
Right, 7
so
or 8.
far. Okay, so now Denver is suing the Trump administration to get those funds. Talk about the lawsuit.
Yeah, so they're suing, saying that the Trump administration violated the Administrative Procedure Act, and they're saying that once this money is actually allocated, you can't just arbitrarily withhold it. And this actually happened in 2017 as well, with all these sanctuary cities, or excuse me, in January. Just it seems like it was years ago, but it was just in right. It was just in January when, with the withholding of federal funds just across the board. And the courts said, no, that wasn't, they issued an injunction against that. But they maintained the withholding of the funds to 19 sanctuary cities. And so that went through the courts, and the courts said, no, you can't just arbitrarily do that. So this is a similar type situation where they're saying, hey, we disagree with your policy. We're the federal government, the executive branch. This isn't consistent with our policies, so we're not going to give you the money. The only problem is this was a grant. The money was already granted to these cities.
So what do you think happens here? Do you think this will go to settlement? Do you think it'll go to trial?
Well, it's interesting because a lot of the considerations when you think about going to trial relate to how expensive it is, your cost of defense. Are you going to prevail? What precedent this sets? But here, that's a little different because it's not going to be expensive to litigate. There's not a lot of factual disputes here. This would probably be resolved on a summary judgment motion. We probably wouldn't have to go to trial. So based on that, I could see, both the federal government and these cities not having a lot of incentive to settle, because a lot of times you just want to, not have to go through the defense costs and the worry of how a jury is going to decide. Here, those factors aren't as relevant or amplified. So, most cases settle. I could see this one going forward for sure.
No matter what happens here, I mean, does this set a precedent now going forward?
Right. Well, not necessarily. So when a trial court makes a decision, that's not necessarily binding on other courts, but this would definitely get appealed, and then would ultimately, whatever the appellate courts ruled, would then be binding on courts. But I think this sets more of a sending a message from the Trump administration, because what you've seen is this sort of across the board just withholding things, taking action, and then willing to be sued to see if it's lawful or not. So you saw this with all the federal agencies and DEI. You saw it with the colleges and DEI, and it's sort of like, let's take action and then let them sue us. And so I think this is another message. Like, you saw these companies and some of these schools actually change their DEI policies for fear of losing funding or being retaliated against by the administration. So it may have a precedential effect in that way, saying, hey, let's modify our sanctuary city policies because we don't want to lose certain funding.
It'll be interesting to see what happens here. Whitney, as always, thanks for coming in.
Sure, good to be here.
Chris?